What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Black Side of Liberty. It's the one and only governor of me, myself, and I, Governor Wildstar, right here with you guys. I appreciate you for tuning in to my big gay extravaganza. I'm hoping that I piss off all of you homophobes out there that have been following me. I actually did not know I had a whole lot of people that were homophobic actually, following me, supporting me, or whatever the case may be. But I found this out recently because I had went down to the Gay Pride Parade here in Fresno. And as you guys knew, I was a candidate running for Fresno City Council. And when I went down there as a Republican candidate, endorsed candidate, I was introducing myself to people in the crowd, and they were very welcoming and embracing and supportive of me in my candidacy. But I came to find out a few days later that hi, Lady Wildstar, that endorsement was retracted and taken away by the Republican Party simply because I did go down to the Pride Fest. So that was very disheartening, especially for me to be one of those people that are going out there and promoting equality and unity, and then to have something like that happen. So it was very disheartening, very disappointing, but more so showed the true colors of the Republican Party and how they are intolerant when it comes to equality and are hypocrites, So as I said, I was hoping to shed some light on the whole pride conversation, as well as the whole issue, etc., and that endorsement retraction. And I have invited a very special guest to join me for this big gay extravaganza. And it is the one and only drag performer, Tempest Heat. Tempest, thank you so much for being here on the Black Side of Liberty.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully, I'm not too blinged out for the camera, but
Oh,
I'm a
no,
drag
no.
queen, so you got to have a lot of bling on. It's just how
Absolutely. Well, you're shining bright like a star over there. Shine bright like a diamond.
it
Straight up. We need that. We need to shine some light on what's going on in the world. So I
I
appreciate
agree. I agree.
I,
So,
I appreciate you, Tempest, again for being here. If I don't know if you heard a little bit about what I said about the endorsement retraction from the Republican Party for my campaign for city council. I was
yes.
excited to receive it, but then after that happened, it felt like a stab in the back. So I wanted to start first with, how does that make you feel? And what is your view when it comes to, I guess, the political parties and how divisive they can be over
Mhm.
issues such as gay rights?
Obviously, as an openly gay man who does drag, like it didn't surprise me. That's what I expect. I know that a huge part, not obviously you can't generalize and say everybody, but I know a huge majority of the Republican Party definitely is conservative, which unfortunately to them means that we don't count in that, in that part of America. Conservative means man, wife, husband, man or husband, wife, children. That's that's the only way. And unfortunately, that's not the only way. That's not the only way we're made. So it didn't surprise me. I know there are some gay Republicans, just
Right.
because they value certain things over other things,
Hmm.
and I think that's what it comes down to. Because of everything I've endured and the hardships I've faced and discrimination, um, I don't know. I just could never support something that I know such a huge part doesn't support me.
Right. And you brought up a good point. You said there are a lot of gay Republicans. There were even
Oh
some
yeah,
down at the Pride celebration.
yeah.
So for the Republican Party to have such a rigid, closed-minded view when it comes to promoting, their values as a party is
Hmm.
very discriminatory when those same people who could be behind them 100%
Hmm.
are feeling discriminated against and excluded,
Yeah,
like
for
people of
sure.
the gay community. And it's awful because that type of prejudice expands just beyond uh, just the gay community, but to the Black community, to the immigrants, to anybody that doesn't fit into their dogmatic view. So
Hmm.
it's very unfortunate. But as I said, I'm happy that you're here to shed light on a lot of these issues, because I feel like, if anything, it's just a matter of people not having conversations.
Hmm.
They build their opinion based off of what they see on the media, or some other person's experience or word of
They're
mouth.
just raised to be like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately, some people, that's just how they grew up and that's their excuse. Well, that's just how I was raised. And it's like, well, you're grown now
Hmm.
and you can think for yourself, so you probably should work on that.
Right.
And the thing is, when it comes to politics in general, it's just such a rock and hard place, in my opinion, because there's plenty of people who identify as Democrats who are still racist or homophobic.
Yeah.
It's not just to one party. One party is just a little more comfortable expressing it than I guess the other
Wow.
is. But depending on the candidate, that's why I don't know. I try to vote in every election, but I don't vote like a lot of people do, where it's just, well, I'm voting because I always vote Democrat, or I'm voting because I always vote Republican. I'm more so, who are you that's
Yeah.
running? And let me find out what type of person you are, what type of ideas you have, and that's how I'm gonna base the decision on who I vote for.
Exactly.
I
That's a
kind of
great
wish
place
we
to
could
be.
just wash away the whole like two-party system.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I think we're a long way from that happening. You know what I'm
Oh, unfortunately, we are. Yeah,
saying? Yeah.
but
But if we could get more people in the center to think more independent minded, like you said, go beyond right, left, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal mindset, to just
right.
say, who are you? What are you representing? And can I get behind you?
Right.
I feel like did my best to promote that type of ideal
Mhm.
to potential voters, and I was successful in doing so because I got a lot of people from all walks of life to
Mhm.
vote for me. And it's unfortunate that the Republican Party again pit me in such a position to where now I'm unable to advocate for them because you know I don't really agree with them. You know,
Right.
if they feel that way, that's fine. I'm not going to go out there as a potential lawmaker and say I feel the same way,
Right.
because if I were to be given that position, then I couldn't just be making laws to benefit one group over another. I would have
Exactly.
general across the board. But enough about me. I want to get to you, Tempest, because you are a drag performer. You did say you are a man dressed as a woman. And I want to ask you,
Yeah.
since you are a drag performer, how long have you been doing drag, and how does it make you feel?
Ugh. I've been doing drag for 15 years.
Wow.
I started like when I was like 21, 22, and I'm 40 now. I'm getting up there in age. I'm not gonna say I'm old because I don't feel old, but I've been doing drag for about 14, 15 years. Um, at this point, I'm a professional drag queen because I get paid. I have my own show here in Milwaukee at Hamburger Mary's, that I'm the show director of. I do it every third weekend of the month, and it's like actual in part of my income. Um, so I love it. Like I do it because it's empowering. Empowering. Um, I do it because I like attention. I've always liked to perform and do theater and musicals and stuff. And this way I kind of get to perform, but on my own terms. And people love drag. It's become such a huge part of our society, whether people like it or not. Um, and it's not going anywhere. So oh, you showing all my drag pictures. That's right.
Of course, I got your Instagram up here. You're I feel
That's
me.
what's up.
You gonna get you some followers. You know what I'm saying? Get you some supporters out there. But yes, I mean, so with you saying that you felt like it was more empowering for you, and it's sad that like as kids we are able to play dress up. You know what I'm saying? You put
Yeah,
on your mom's shoes or your dad's shirt or something like that. You're just playing around as kids, and it's okay. The minute you
right.
become an adult, for some reason, now
It's like, yeah, all of a sudden it's like, that's a little taboo. And I think a huge part of it is because for some reason people associate it with like sex. And it has one has nothing to do with the other. Like I perform in gowns and different costumes. And I perform for all ages. Like I perform for children. I've done drag queen story time where I'll dress up like a goofy character from a book and then read that book to kids. So I mean, it's a lot of different forms of it, but I think people always want to go to the most negative or dark version of something, especially when they don't understand something. So I keep messing with my hairs and stuff. Oh, did I lose you? Where did you go? Hey, Crystal. I can't wait to see y'all in
I apologize.
September.
I do, and
Okay, there you go.
you hear me and see me, right?
I can see you.
Oh,
Yes.
great. I apologize. My computer went kaput there during the broadcast.
It's
Had to come.
technology. It's
I'm telling
technology for
you,
you.
I don't know if it's not dependable or if we're just having it being controlled by outside forces. I tend to lean
Right.
the latter, but
Yeah.
what
People
I
don't want to think that way, but hey, it's very, very real. So
absolutely, yes, indeed. But what I was about to ask was, I was saying that growing up, we play make believe and dress up and all of this other stuff, and then the minute we become adults, we're told not to imagine anymore,
hmm
not to um, be creative as much as
right.
we were. It seems like the only time you're able to dress up in a costume or do anything else is Halloween, and
hmm
it's sad that we have society dictating our standards of life. So, with you saying that, you feel empowered, um, I want to also ask, I guess, do you think that this whole, I guess, evolution of more people coming out and doing drag and people going to drag shows and, enjoying what they have to offer, do you see that as adding to that culture, the growth of it, the expansion?
Oh, most definitely, for sure. I feel like I've had a huge part in that just by doing drag. When I first started, like even my mom was like, "Oh God, please don't do drag." And I'm like, it was like, this isn't about you, it's about me. And like I love it. Like when I'm on stage, I enjoy myself and I'm really freaking good at it. So like why would I stop doing something? Especially with life. Like life can be so stressful. And like I have a regular 9 to 5 job as an account manager. That's not fun. It's a job. It pays the bills you know That's the whole purpose of it. Whereas drag, it's great that I make money doing it, but I enjoy it. I started doing it and I wasn't making any money. I was doing shows for free. And now I don't have to because I've, you know, worked on my craft, my art form, and it's to the point where now people appreciate how much effort I put into it and willing to pay me for that effort. So that makes me feel good. And the fact that it's been 14 years and I'm still very like respected and booked in my community. And I feel like, I'm a leader,
Yeah.
because being in drag has allowed me to become just in general a more confident person, whether I'm in drag or out of drag. It's allowed me to become a person who speaks my mind and says how I feel. And, I don't let people get away with things that they shouldn't get away with. Like, I remember before someone would say something offensive about my color or me being gay, and because I didn't want to rock the boat, I would just kind of brush it off as they don't know any better, or they're just joking. Whereas now, I don't have a problem saying, hey, regardless if you meant it or not, that was offensive. And you shouldn't
Right.
say things like that. Um, because you have to tell people. I'm sorry, you do. You have to teach people how to treat you. Unfortunately, you do, but you know, drag has helped me has made that a lot easier for me to do. So yeah,
Good. I mean, we do have to educate each other, especially when we're ignorant on certain things,
yeah,
and people can generate a certain opinion about someone or something and never have been exposed to that at all themselves. Like I said, I feel like the majority of people that are critical of the gay community is because they haven't had conversations with people of the gay community,
exactly right. They're not even open to it, and
Right.
that's unfortunate because at the end of the day, we all humans. Like we all just trying to live the best possible life, provide for our loved ones. Like we all got the same goals. We go about it in different ways, and that's okay. But yeah, I think that's a huge problem though with politics in general. Um, there's not enough politicians willing to actually listen. A lot of
Mm.
them are just being quiet. They're listening to respond as opposed to just listening to learn. Does that make
Wow.
sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're so wanting to dictate the situation versus hearing you out and learning from what you have to say to understand how to approach dealing with the situation. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
like that's a lot of the disconnect. Also, is people feeling like they know better than you. You know,
Mhm.
and I feel like right now we are going through a sexual revolution. I mean, like they did during the '70s with Woodstock and all of and here we are, here we go again, for
Yep.
the next generation. And that's going to continue to happen the more we continue to oppress people, you know,
Mhm.
because you're told not to be a certain way. Of course, you're going to react to that,
Yeah, and I think over time it definitely builds up to the point where yeah, you have these bursts where people are just like, all right, enough is enough. We're just gonna do what we want.
Right.
We've dealt with y'all telling us what not to do for so long. Now we just like, you know what? No, it's time to do something about it. So
Yeah. Because I
I
mean,
think we definitely heading that way right now.
because drag performing has always been around. I think more people are starting to see more of a value in the entertainment part of it because
Mhm.
lots of money being made off of it.
And
Like,
that's the thing, of course, as soon as they realize they can profit, they're like, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. You know.
right. Yeah, and there's a lot of people profiteering off of it, off of the gay community. And that's one thing that I want to touch on is, do you feel like the gay community is being exploited in a certain way politically for these politicians and their political agenda, whether it's to restrict our rights or to anger one group or another? Because whether it's a argument over trans and sports or whatever the case may be, it seems to be an issue that this like political football that they keep throwing back and forth. And
Mhm.
the gay community is being pit in between that. And you don't see many spokesmen of the community speaking up versus people like what we're saying, kind of entering the conversation and saying they know better than most.
Yeah. I think it is to a certain extent, but I think that people are smart and they starting to realize that.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of it is being exploited, just like because a lot of straight bars and restaurants are starting to offer like drag brunch. You know, just because they realize they can make money by having us come in and perform, and
Right.
it'll bring more people in to buy their product while they there to watch us perform.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I feel like for drag artists, because a lot of drag artists aren't like me where I have like a full-time job like that pays the bills. The money I make doing drag is like extra money that I
Hmm.
can put back into my drag, or go out of town for the weekend with, or whatever. But a lot of drag artists, that is their job. That's how they make their money. So it's nice to have a plethora of opportunities, I guess, to perform and make money, because there's only so many gay bars in the city. But it's just about being smart and making sure that you are being paid your worth. I always say know your worth and then add tax. For
Right.
whatever you're gonna charge. Like, yeah. So
Straight up, make sure you get a your cut because they're definitely getting there. So I mean, every
exactly.
June rolls around, you can see all of these companies throw up a rainbow flag, and now all of a sudden they're gay friendly.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, to get as much money as they can.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for sure.
so yeah, there is an amount of exploitation there and use, but
Hmm.
have to be smart. You have to realize, hey, what's going on, and that you're being used as kind of like this scapegoat for an argument that you may not even have anything to do with,
Right.
uh,
Hmm.
like for instance, I guess one of the biggest issues that the conservatives, I call them that
Right.
they are really neoconservatives, they're not
Yeah.
conservatives at all. But yeah, these supposed conservatives want to say that, people of the gay community are committing a sin, or, uh, it's they're grooming
It's in the
children.
Bible and they're trying to turn kids gay, and it's
Right, right.
all kind of crazy stuff. And you like, how, where, when? Give me an example when this has happened.
Well, I
Please.
want to ask you about that because that's the general perception that they have. But again, it's mainly because of propaganda. You know what I mean? So, from your point of view, do you see there being a, I guess, gay agenda, quote unquote, to emasculate men or make more kids gay, or um, whatever the case may be?
Of course not. It is what it is. Like, I guess because I am gay, like I know you can't turn somebody gay, like it doesn't work that way. That's like saying I can turn somebody black. Like if I rub a white person enough times, if I lick them enough times, they'll turn black. It doesn't work like that, I was born this way, and it took a lot of self soul
Never.
search, which
So there is that little caveat,
but I mean, people want to find any excuse to support whatever ignorant, beliefs that they have. Like,
Mm.
there's no gay agenda. There's nobody trying to turn, straight people gay. There's enough of us here. There's enough gay people in the world. We don't need to go recruiting for more. Um, you
Right.
know, and why would anybody like, that's the whole thing with like choosing this. Like, you deal with a lot of, discrimination and stuff when you gay. So I
Mhm.
don't think people would necessarily choose that hard road. But if it's who you are, you kind of have no choice,
Right.
but to just
Absolutely.
yeah. So I
Well,
don't know. I feel like over time people learn. Like my mom, she had a hard time with me being gay, and then eventually she got over it. And then she had a hard time with me being a drag queen, and then eventually she got over it.
right.
And then she had a hard time with me marrying another guy, but she got over it. And I feel like that's kind of how society is in general. A lot, well, most people. Some people just don't get over it. They just they like, I like staying in this hateful place and I'm gonna just stay there. But most people, I think,
Yeah.
after a while, especially once it touches them personally, it makes it a lot harder for them to, stay down that hateful path.
Yeah. Well, you would think that would be what would turn them in the direction. We should be more loving towards each other, and it's sad that we aren't. And people do get caught up in their ways. They get
Hmm.
set in their behaviors. They don't want to do anything differently. They don't want to see anything differently. They don't want to act differently. So, unfortunately, the society as a whole suffers because of that. I
Most
did
definitely.
I did want to circle back to one thing you were talking about with the grooming the children, because I would say maybe not the gay community, the people
Hmm.
have a goal or idea to, make more kids gay or whatever the case may be. But I'll tell you this, I'll be watching cartoons with my son, and one of the commercials that they'll be playing on YouTube will be for like some trans something, or uh some of the cartoons that they do have. One of them, it was like it was a kid, a little boy dressing up like a girl, and he was playing in the makeup, and it was some song that was making it sound like that kind of kid was more preferable. Now, maybe you don't feel that way, but when I turn to certain media outlets like YouTube and I see content like that, I have to wonder, number one, why are you playing that type of commercial during the kids show? You know,
Hmm.
two, why are you sexualizing content for children? Because it is a sexual, identity,
Hmm.
uh, orientation. So it, I feel like anything that has to do with teaching children shouldn't be related to sex whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I think it's important though to teach children about the fact that there are gay people, because
Absolutely.
gay isn't just a sex thing. Like I could never have sex the rest of my life and I would still be gay. So I think there's a way to do it, but I think in general our society introduces like sex to children at way too young of an age in general, like regardless if it's gay, straight, or whatever.
Ab-
Um, I think in general we throw those messages out there at a to young children, but I think people when it's done in a like straight sense is more accepted because that's the way we're supposed to be. But in reality, it shouldn't be thrown out there at all, like to any children. Like
ex-
um, I don't think it's appropriate to have like two men making out in like a kid's cartoon or something. I don't think it's appropriate to have like a husband and wife doing it either. Like, why? This is a cartoon. Like,
yeah, yeah,
you
for sure.
know. Um, but that's our society. It's the same thing with like cigarettes and alcohol, and them being, kind of advertised more so to young people because they're more impressionable. Um, but yeah, I mean, in general, I don't think like Levi would come around. My little brother. When I met Paul, my husband, he Levi was like 7, and he
Okay.
would come over and spend the night and stuff. And he knew that we were together, but ain't like we was sitting on couch making out in front of him or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we just hung out like three dudes playing Mortal Kombat and ordering pizza. Like, but he grew up understanding like, this is who my brother is with. They love each other. And that was we were able to teach him that without any type of sexual reference whatsoever,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so and he fine. Like he not gay. He's 17. He like girls, which if he was gay, that would be fine too. But he not, because that's the other thing. People in the family would, always ask my mom, like, aren't you worried? Like, it's gonna rub off on Levi. And it's like, why would it?
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know?
Exactly.
I ain't taking Levi to the gay bar, like, come here, let me show you what it's all about. Like, no.
And like you said, it's whether it's exposure to homosexual relationship or a heterosexual relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's just exposure to the reality of the matter, which is people love who they love, you know? And
Yeah, exactly. And that's all it needs to be. Like, we don't need to go into any more depth.
exactly, it's not that way. You know, we have a lot of people that are prejudice minded, you know, and
Hmm.
feel like what you do in your own bedroom should not be broadcasted to the rest of the world. And I feel the same way. I mean, my private life is my private life. What happens in my bedroom is my business. But I feel like
Correct.
overall, because people aren't minding their business, we're having to deal with these problems in society, like people taking an issue with, with the gay community. Because if they just kept their mind out of their, kept their out of their business, then they wouldn't be having to deal with it altogether anyway.
Well, and that's
Um,
the thing. Like, why are you upset about who someone else is sleeping with?
right.
Like, I'm not concerned with who any of my friends or coworkers are sleeping with. That's their business. That's very personal. It's
Exactly.
not something that would ever make me upset because I don't care.
Right.
That's, you know, but I don't know. That's the whole thing that makes it weird to me. Like, why does it upset you when it has nothing to do with you? You
Hmm.
know,
The
but
people that seem to be taking up a lot of issue with the gay community these days are trying to use children as the basis of that argument to say, well, we're protecting our children because you're going out there and you're trying to, influence them at an early age and they're impressionable. So I want to ask you, since you are a drag performer, have you ever done any drag performances for children, or would you even? Do you think that's something that should be acceptable?
I've done several performances for children.
Oh,
Thankfully, there's a lot of open-minded people. Like, I used to do drag queen story time,
mhm,
and I would read just regular children's books. And like the fun part is, I would like dress up like one of the characters in the book, which the children were like, "Oh my God, you look like Mrs. Finkel in this, Magic School Bus book." And that's as far as they thought of it. Like, "Oh, you look like the character in the book." They knew I was a drag queen. But yeah, I've like performed for kids. We do a brunch that's family friendly on Sundays, and children are welcome to perform. But the music we perform in is you know um like G rated because it's a kids drag show. So you're not
yeah,
up there doing like Nicki Minaj or something. Um, you know, you can do like several kid friendly songs. Ariana Grande and all the other people who grew up on Disney like have a bunch of music that little kids know that isn't sexual or anything. It's just fun music to dance to. And I'll
right.
bring kids, boys and girls on the stage, you know, and they'll like dance and they just enjoy like being on the stage. And
Mhm.
the thing is, what people have to understand is gay people are born this way. And I think it's amazing for a new generation to have people like me out here who they can identify with
Right.
because I knew I was gay when I was little. You know, I knew I was different. I knew I was feminine. And it wasn't because somebody, influenced me to be that way. That's just the way I was. And it took a long time for me to even accept that because I knew everybody was telling me that's wrong. That's not how you should be, you
Right.
know. But I grew up in a time where obviously you didn't just see gay people everywhere. And the ones you saw, everybody was ridiculing and, making fun of. So it
Yeah.
made you just want to hide who you were even more. It's amazing. Like people don't understand what it can do for a child to see something that they identify with. It's the same thing with like growing up and being able to see black TV shows because you can relate with those people. Like, oh, my family do that same thing. It's the
Right.
same thing, I guess, with like gay people. You know, it's nice to even now as a grown adult to be able to just watch a show and they might have like a gay neighbor or something because that's normal. That's how the world works, you
Right.
know? Um being able to see people like you allows you to understand that there's nothing wrong with you. So I don't know. I don't see nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's a way to do a right and a wrong way to do everything. And as far as like, gayness and kids, I feel like, that subject is its own subject on its own because there unfortunately are plenty of people who are pedophiles. And guess what? They're not all gay.
Right.
Um, unfortunately, there's just some people in the world who are sick, and it's not just like a gay thing. It's not like we can't pretend like it is. Um, so you can't hold us all accountable for those type of people.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, people will target the gay community to say you're grooming children, you're, um, exposing them to sexual behaviors and pedophilia and all of this other stuff. They'll criticize the gay community for that, but won't do that for the church. And
Right, right,
the
right.
Christian church,
They
whether it be
don't even get rid of the priests when they find out they done molested children. They just move them to a different parish.
right.
They're like,
And
oh yes, let's give them a new batch of kids to mess up.
this is factual, documented evidence,
Yeah, yeah.
world to see, and still people will turn a blind eye to it or negate it or dismiss it entirely. And it's
Or
like,
they
wait,
just go back to the gays, like, no, leave the priests alone. They're men of God. The gays are what's really doing it. And it's like, no, that's
but you
not
made a
true.
point. Said pedophiles aren't just, in the gay community, they're everywhere. And
Hmm.
in the Black Baptist church, you got the, perverted pastor who's
Right,
classes at the little, 12, 13-year-old girls. And,
right.
you know, people again turn a blind eye to those type of advances. So it to me is no different. If you're going to be hypocritical over pedophilia, it should be to everyone across the board, no matter what group you're affiliated with or whatever the case may be, uh,
Hmm.
because it should be equally unacceptable in the gay community as it should be for the church. Period.
Exactly, period.
But we don't see that happening much, unfortunately. I wish it did, and maybe we can get more people inspired to start speaking up across the board about it all.
Yeah.
But
Cause it's like you can't say you worried about the children, but you only worried about a specific group of people doing something to the children. Like that don't even make sense. Like, if you're here to protect them, you got to protect them from everybody and everything wrong. So, you
exactly.
know,
I want to talk to you about the whole trans performing deal because it seems like a lot of the hate towards the trans community and their outwardness is aimed towards trans women versus trans men. I don't really see much of them doing the book readings for children or even with in sports. I just read an article where there was a female high school player on the football team. She was the first female on the team to ever score a touchdown and to ever be a quarterback. And people are like, yay, that's great. It's a girl in sports. If she was a trans man, I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of um,
backlash.
yeah, of course. So it's crazy how you can see the dynamics there where people are more accepting of one uh I guess expression of unification and equality versus the other where people
Hmm.
being more discriminatory towards it. So uh I want to ask you, so since you are a trans performer, do you think that's a
I'm not
really
a trans performer.
oh
I'm
well,
not
yeah,
considered a trans performer. I'm not trans. I'm just a drag queen.
drag performer. Pardon me, I apologize.
Right.
Big
Yeah.
difference, and
Big
people.
difference. Yes.
So drag is just something you could do, you know, sporadically, periodically. Versus trans is a way of life, right?
Correct. Like I am a drag queen. I dress up and I perform and then I go take a shower and take all this off, and I live my life as a man, as a gay man. Transgender means you don't feel like you basically in the right body.
Right.
So you might have been born a guy, but you feel like a woman. And you might do things to alter your body so that you look and feel more like a woman. And you might not. It all depends. I have several friends that are transgender, who live their lives, but that's not me. I'm just a gay man. And people get it confused because I do drag, but um, I don't stay in drag. I'm not like always, looking like this. I literally only got like this to do the show with you.
All right.
Otherwise, I'll be sitting here in some, basketball shorts and a tank top and chilling watching TV.
Right. Getting ready to go to bed.
Right.
Well, yes, I do appreciate you for dressing up for me, attending the show here, because I really feel like, if anything, it's a matter of discussion to be had,
Oh, for
and
sure.
sadly, people go off of imagery. If you were
Hmm.
just in your tank top and shorts and we're talking about all of this, it probably wouldn't resonate with them as much as it would with you
Hmm.
being in drag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, for
So,
sure.
whoa, I'm hearing one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're back. All right.
There we go.
I'm telling you. But there's one more thing about Tempest that I wanted to let you guys know, is Tempest is actually my cousin, Jonathan.
Yes.
Grew up like this. I mean,
Grew up like this together, for sure.
definitely.
Yes.
So I did ask
We
my.
were each other's best man in our weddings.
Yes, I was going to show pictures, but my computer shut down. I was going to show pictures of us together.
When we
Also,
was all short and snagger-toothed and Lord.
yes, sir. But yeah, so we grew up together, and you're you and I'm me, and we
Yep.
love each other no less.
Yeah.
Uh, Happy to call you, she, when you want to be acknowledged
When
as
I'm
she.
in the drags and
Yeah,
yeah, right. And I'm masked when I'm not.
and to me, it doesn't emasculate me. It doesn't make me feel like less of a man. It's not insulting. So for the
Right.
people out there that take up an issue with it, like you said, it must be something with them.
Of
It's something
course.
wrong with you, to where now you feel so insulted by someone else and what they're doing with their life. I don't.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So whether you married a man or a woman, I would still love you as much as I do. And you're right. As far as people getting to that point that where they're being more understanding, I think it's going to take them having their own personal type of experience to get to that point.
I feel
Maybe
like that's the quickest route is to,
it,
yeah, have it affect you personally, because then you're like, wow, it really forces you to look at things differently.
yeah,
You
look in
know.
the mirror, do some self-reflection, and look at the world that you're creating for the next generation, because that's what's most crucial. Like you
Yeah.
said, growing up, it was difficult for you, and I saw that too. And sometimes it made me feel a bit powerless because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And
Right.
um, I think, if anything, having an environment where we have adults that are more understanding, more communicative, more open,
Hmm.
that we wouldn't have had to deal with such hardships, at
Yeah.
this
I
point.
agree 100%. A
And
100%.
for the young gay people out there that are watching, I do want to say to them, definitely don't let other people dictate how you live your life. Period.
Please don't.
Not
Please.
worth it, because some of these people don't have it figured out them damn selves. Okay.
No, and they miserable, and that's why they got so much to say about your life.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, life is short. It feels like, especially when you're young, it feels like you got forever. But as the older you get, you realize those years go by and they don't come back, and you don't want to look back and feel wish that you would have did this or wish that you did that when you could have been spending all that time being happy, living your best life. you
Right.
know I'm super like grateful. I feel like, um a lot of people will be like, oh, well, it's such a sin to be gay, but I'm like, why am I so blessed then? Why like, I'm
Straight.
very happy. Like, I have somebody who loves me, like, to death.
Hmm.
I have a wonderful support system. I have a great job. Like, I have a wonderful supportive family. Well, most of the family is supportive. Um,
The
so,
one,
I feel very thankful and blessed. And it's like, if who I am is such a horrible person, it doesn't seem like I'm being punished for it. So,
right.
you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. And nor should you be, especially.
Right, exactly. Because it's some BS. Let me
Yeah,
tell you something. If you want to be happy, you have to do the things that's gonna make you happy. You have to find something that you passionate about and go for it.
yeah,
We're not all gonna be like superstars, but we can all still be happy and find you joy in what we do every day. So
exactly. And when you're a peaceful, loving person, that comes out in no matter what you do, you know,
exactly,
no matter how
exactly,
you do it, whether you're doing it in drag or you're doing it in an accounting firm or, reading
right,
kids or whatever the case may be, that love that you have will be shown, it will be expressed, and other people will see it. They're going to respond to that.
definitely, and they'll feel it. They'll feel it. You always do. You know.
Yes. Before I let you go, I did have a special request for a question to ask you from one of my friends. He wanted me to ask you, how do you feel about the Prince of Purple? Was Prince someone that was of the gay community, or do you think that it didn't matter? I personally feel like he was just a pimp beyond pimps, and he just transcended the whole dictation of sexual identity or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, what a lot of people don't know is, Prince actually was like against homosexuality.
Wow.
Yeah. He he was who he was, and obviously he enjoyed being a more feminine, being in touch with his feminine side, I would say, because he did have
Hmm.
his
Breaking up a little bit.
um but I feel like that's from the era that he came up in. Because let's be honest, people, I don't know why they pretend like stuff didn't happen. Like back in the '80s, so many men groups like had on like half t-shirts and
Right?
jerry curls and eyeliner, and you like, oh, and it was a bunch of straight dudes
Beautiful. You know?
with their jerry curls.
Yeah, Rick James wearing heels and blouses and
Exactly. And it was like, that was just the look. It wasn't, about them being gay. And I feel like we getting back to that as well. Like, I feel like a lot of straight men are a lot more comfortable just wearing what they think is cute.
Hmm. Or not
So
letting, society dictate their masculinity, like
yeah, exactly.
Harry Styles or whatever.
Right.
uh,
Right.
the guy
And
definitely likes him some ladies, but he don't,
right.
dressing up in a dress either. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's to me how it should be. I think that it's just like, the whole dumb thing, blue is for boys, pink is for girls. Like, no, it's not. Like, we're gonna wear all the colors.
All right. And if your
Just
favorite color is purple or pink, that doesn't necessarily make you gay, you know?
not at all. It's colors.
Exactly.
Like, embrace all the colors, period.
Yeah, it's sad that we kind of still, like I said, got to educate people on these basic understandings that,
Yeah. It's
uh,
always a very gradual improvement. We were heading in the right direction. It's just at a glacial pace.
I was just about to ask you that. Do you think we're getting to that point where we're kind of equalizing as far as understanding and not going to be so scrutinizing over each other? Because I hate to say it, but I'm kind of feeling jaded. I feel like there's a group of people that are over it, and then that are just there's a small group of people that are just holding on for dear life to all of their prejudices, and they're
Yeah.
still in power. You know, it's like
Hmm.
we need to get them motherfuckers
Yeah.
out straight up
Oh,
because
most definitely. It's like, good lord.
yeah, and they're ruining everything for everybody. You know, like the people that chose to rescind my endorsement simply did so because they didn't like me being in that environment. They didn't care that I was
Right.
there just to pass out flyers.
They like, he okay with the homos, gotta go.
Right, exactly. You got to go. And yet at the same time, with smile on their face and say we need their vote and
Hmm.
support us. So
Yeah, right, exactly.
a lot of things got to change, but from your point of view, do you see it more on an upward turn, or do you think it's going down in the hell in a handbag?
Like I said, I think we're moving in the right direction. It's just at a glacial pace. It's a very slow climb to the top
Hmm.
of equality. I think that slowly but surely we're getting there, but we have a long way to go, you know. Um, but that's just unfortunately how society works. I mean, good lord, like it's the same thing with like racism and stuff. There's so much music from the times when segregation was legal that you listen to and hear, and you like, this applies to today and it's 2022. Like,
Yeah,
damn, you know.
exactly.
Um, but at the same time, you have positive things happen, like getting the first female black Supreme Court judge. You
Yeah,
know, that kind of gives you hope. Cause I was like, they are not gonna let this woman get confirmed. I just assumed they wasn't. Like, nope. They like, that's enough. We got
right.
enough. We've done enough for you blacks, but they did.
Wait until next time, you know.
Right.
And
So
that,
I mean, we're going in the right direction, but it's definitely very, very slow
yeah.
moving.
Well, I'm hoping that it's like a bamboo shoot. You know, it may take 20 years to grow, but that 21st year is going to shoot 20 feet in the air. So
Yeah.
let's hope and pray that that's what's happening right now with this evolution of humankind, because I would like to get away from where we are. So my son will grow up in a better environment that's more loving and,
Yeah.
open and
Heck
um,
yeah.
receptive of different people, you know.
Yeah. Right.
To me, that would be a better world to be living in than the one we grew up in and are having to deal with now because we're struggling just to have to create that identity instead of it having to be dictated for us. Uh,
Hmm.
so I do want to thank you again for dressing in drag and dragging your ass on the black side of liberty for me because
For sure.
it's been a minute since we spoke, and we haven't really talked about these things either.
No, we haven't. We haven't. So this was nice.
Yeah.
And I definitely appreciate you reaching out to me. You already know I love you like a brother. You are my brother. So
Oh, God bless you. I love you.
happy,
And
happy
you
to do it.
be close to my heart, definitely.
Ditto, ditto.
I said, I do want to get more people supporting you, following you, showing you some love. So, everyone watching, head on over to Instagram and follow I Want to Feel the
Feel the
Heat.
heat. That's
It's,
right. Tempest
it's
heat.
right there down at the bottom of your screen. Follow Tempest Heat over on Instagram and be sure to connect with her and support her in everything she does. Thank you so much again, Jonathan, for being here. Tempest
Thank
Heat,
you.
love.
All right. Give the family hugs and kisses for me. I'll see y'all in September.
Oh, yeah, you know that. I can't wait to see you there. Hey, and my brother
Exactly.
Paul, too. Give him a kiss and hug for me.
Almost definitely.
All right, I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
All right, you guys, that again was Tempest Heat, drag performer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So what you want to do is connect with her right there on Instagram. I want to feel the heat. Please do so now. I would appreciate it. She would appreciate it. And everyone out there in the world would appreciate it because it's going to show that, hey, you don't give a damn if you're a drag performer or trans even, because there are those out there, like you heard, there is a difference. But please educate yourselves. Don't be so ignorant to the world around you simply because you refuse to engage in it. You may be uncomfortable for whatever reason, but that's how you're going to expand your mind, and that's what it takes, is for you being courageous, brave enough first to go out there and venture where no others have gone before. Because I've spoken to some closed-minded people, and God, you people wouldn't believe how far gone they are. So they aren't saving any of them. We're talking about you and the next generation. So it starts first with us connecting with each other. Definitely, again, connect with Tempest Heat on Instagram. I want to feel the heat. Please be sure to do that also ASAP. And of course, be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff at Governor Wildstar if you haven't already. I just found out I got a strike on YouTube, so I'm banned for a few days. I don't even know why. They don't ever explain, but I'm being censored. And I need for you guys to help me break through that barrier of censorship. How you're going to help me do that is by helping me increase my numbers. Of course, you can follow me, connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. And if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. All your engagement helps change that YouTube algorithm, so where hopefully next time around I won't be getting banned from sharing any content. All right. And you want to also head on over to taxationistheft.info and be sure to buy any of the merchandise from the website using my code GoWild2022. You can use that code while it's still good for the year 2022, and get a discount on all of your merchandise from the Taxation is Theft website, which you can find at taxationistheft.info. Also, head on over to nugofknowledge.com. All you cannabis smokers out there, cannabis consumers, head on over to nugofknowledge.com. Use my code WILDSTAR to get a discount on all of your products there and help promote the message to end the war on drugs by making a purchase from the website. That's where all of the money goes, towards ending the war on drugs, helping people that are incarcerated over drug-related charges, especially those related to cannabis. And we want to make sure that they're getting all the help that they need. And it starts first with us making sure that we're able to speak out for them. But you got to help by making a contribution at nugofknowledge.com. Use my code WILDSTAR, all right? And it's about that time for us to start drinking some blood of tyrants. 4th of July is right around the corner, and if you want to have the blood of tyrants on deck, head on over to bloodoftyrants.wine. It is one of the best wine selections that you're going to find out there. Use my code GOWILD and you will get $5 off of your shipping. No matter how much you get, you're going to get a discount on that shipping using my code GOWILD. But yeah, drink that Blood of Tyrants wine. Let them know you are against tyranny and you are happy to drink to it. And drink the Blood of Tyrants wine by heading over to bloodoftyrants.wine. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I would appreciate it if you would also make a contribution to help me continue making these videos, be able to promote other videos on YouTube once I'm back on track there. So head on over to Cash App and send me some using $ Governor Wildstar. Anything and everything helps. Trust me, it goes towards bringing back liberty. That's what I'm all about. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm not trying to do any branding and merchandising and all of this other stuff. All of the products that I've introduced to you guys here are mission based and ones that I'm happily involved in and happy to promote. So if you want to help me continue the effort to bring back liberty and promote libertarianism all across the world, head on over to Cash App and send me a little something using $ Governor Wildstar. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. But of course, as I said before, be sure to subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you to all of the people that jumped into the chat today. Crystal Wildstar, my lovely wife, Stephen Z, and Karen. Thank you guys for being here and dropping comments. Hope you guys come back next time on the Black Side of Liberty. And yeah, I'm about to get out of here once I can figure out how to sign off using my phone. Okay, I found it. So come back next time, you guys. I'm going to have another wonderful guest. Until then, long live liberty, y'all. Peace.